But we really wanted this opportunity. We'll have some time at the end to answer your questions as well. But we wanted to focus in on, the bright future that Harlingen has for itself and for the community and for the region. And so we're just going to kind of go right into it. So for we do, though, we have, different people from the audience, business leaders, investors, bakers, potentially real estate professionals. And so we really wanted to hear from you. So I have a poll. So everybody get off their phone, because probably some of you have already clicked on it already while we've been talking, right? So you may phone. So if everybody pulls out their phone and go to minty.com. It's really easy, y'all. I'm going to even break from my phone so I can see what y'all put. Thank you. It's okay. If you want to do it here on the panel, y'all can do it now. So in one word, what comes to mind when you think of Harlingen's future? So you can enter in a word. It can be multiple words. It's okay, because I'm like, I need to just do one word. So I'm going to put something in also. So everybody, if you can, you see the code there? You're going to go to mitch.com and then put it at code 59478040. We know if you have any troubles. So I put it blank there. I put in troubles. Does everybody have any? Can you do it? Cool. All right, come on, staff. All right, so we've got innovation, growth, family-oriented, success, collaborations. Look at you more. There we go. Potential.
Yeah.
All right. That's great. See, so thank you guys for sharing. Before we go into actually hearing from our panelists, I do want to introduce them, and we want to give them a chance to talk about, the bright future that Harlingen had, but also for the region as well. And so we want to build on the energy that you just provided here and hear from them. So let me introduce our panelists, and then before we continue your questions, I'll allow you to introduce yourself a little bit as far as your background, stuff like that. So first we have Ramiro Aleman. He's the Cameron County Economic Development Director. Thank you for joining us. And then we have Ana Hernandez. She's with City of Harlingen. She's our Planning and Development Director. And then we have Sally Perez. She's with Workforce Solutions Cameron. She's the Chief Program Officer there. So Ramiro, can you go ahead and just begin? Tell us a little bit about yourself briefly, and then Ana, and then Sally, and then we'll jump right into questions.
Sure. So, Beverly Ticer, I'm the Economic Development Director for Cameron County. And so my previous life, I started my economic development career here at the Harlingen EDC. After about 11 years, I moved on to the Greater Brownsville and Simmons Corporation, and I spent 5 years there, working on small projects like SpaceX and LG, so I think that's tricky. But then I went ahead and ran my own EDC at the San Diego EDC, and that was for 14 months. But then, as you mentioned, as I'm talking about growth in the area, the county was receiving many calls regarding economic development, economic activities, and the judge, anything as county commissioners said, what? We need our own standalone economic development department. And so they went ahead and created an economic department, and they asked me to lead it. And so I'm fortunate enough to be the very first economic director of standalone economic department of the San County. And so I see a lot of potential, a lot of activities going on, and not only in the county but in Harlingen. So I really appreciate you inviting me to give so much thoughts on this. Breaking.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ana Hernandez. I'm the Planning and Development Director. I also serve as the Special Projects Director for the City of Harlingen. I've been on the role for 3 months. I'm hoping that I can actually provide some insight. But I've been, working for the City of Harlingen for the last 5 years. Prior to coming to Harlingen, I worked in Brownsville. I had several roles, including senior planner, and study administrator, assistant director, before moving to Harlingen. And prior to that, I worked for the state of Texas on the agency performance review team with the legislative board. And so and have background in policy. And so I'm excited to be here. Thank you. This is my first time on the panel. So hope I was very nice to you. Good.
I had to like it.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sally Perez. I'm the Chief Program Officer for the Board Workforce Board here at Cameron County. I also do equal opportunity and section 504 coordinator. I have been in this role, with the Workforce Board for about 30 years. So I've got vast knowledge in workforce development. I collaborate with a lot of players, and I'm happy to be here. Thank you for being here.
Awesome. Thank y'all. All right. So we're going to build on that energy. We're going to start talking about the opportunity here in Harlingen and what's driving those opportunities. So I'm going to start with you, Ramiro. So my first question for you is, from a regional perspective, why is Cameron County and Harlingen in particular a good place for business and investment?
Well, recently we've seen a lot of job growth in the county, right? Not only job growth, we also see wages grow. The wages have grown, and the opportunities have grown. So, and don't believe me, but area development, and I'm surprised you didn't mention that. Area development is in its most recent ranking, ranked Cameron County, Brownsville, Harlingen Metropolitan as the #1 location to do business. All right, and so there's a lot of potential to see. You mentioned the projects, the large projects that we're working on, but there's also projects that we're working on in Harlingen, right? The region. So when you talk about, why is Harlingen membership growing? We're talking about job growth. We're talking about wages. There's a chart that I like to show, and I'm gonna have it here, but we got it from Workforce, so thank you. But you can see the average wage in Cameron County in the last couple of years does like a 45-degree angle. And so that is really impressive for an organization for a community to do as far as job growth. I don't think there's any other region that they carried in the country that has job wage growth like we have right now. So wages, creating wealth, as you mentioned in your mission, that is coming here to Cameron County, to Harlingen, and I think right now is a time for you investors to start looking into coming into Harlingen, because it's only going to get better.
Now, you make some good points, and you brought up the #1 being Cameron County, and some of those factors include the jobs, availability of jobs, labor force, and so we rank really high in labor force, but then also cost of operating business is really low, and the cost to do business, but also the cost of housing. So our labor force has better housing opportunities here to have affordable housing for their family and to work here. So those are some of the factors of what makes Cameron County like #1 place to do business. In just a little bit, I don't know if you could just touch on briefly just what industries we're seeing the most growth right now. Briefly, just kind of if you can mention those industries for the folks that may not know. I think everybody probably has a good idea of the industries that are growing in Cameron County, but if you just want to touch on that really fast.
Yeah, obviously, the big, most popular one that everybody knows about is aerospace. Aerospace right now, our aerospace sector, SpaceX, they have approximately about 4,000 employees, direct and contract. That doesn't include all the suppliers that are coming into the area. And so aerospace is definitely, and I think Harlingen is well primed to grow in aerospace with the Aerotropolis, still called Aerotropolis. I don't know if it was Aerotropolis, Aeroplex.
Aeroplex, yeah.
Or Industrial Air Park. But yeah, so with all that land out there, there's already studies done. There's already cultural resource, there's already wetlands delineation. All of those are already done. So those are shovel-ready sites out there. You have the old ULA building that's prime for aerospace, that's prime for aviation. So I think, and then access to the runways. So I think Harlingen's well primed for aerospace growth. Obviously, the energy sector is growing huge. There's Rio Grande Valley, that's a $18 billion project as we speak. They are currently looking at expanding additional trains And so those of you that don't know, they're not actual locomotives. They're what they call trains, or the equipment that the buildings that they use, that they built to liquefy the natural gas, right? So it's a gas, and they liquefy it into a liquid. So then the transport is, they're looking at adding additional trains to bring it up to a $30 billion project. So they're looking at that, and then hopefully by the end of this year we'll have a final investment decision, FID, for Texas natural gas. And that's a smaller project. That's only a $5 billion project. So that's a smaller project, and so hopefully we'll get a positive FID on that. But then, as Orlando said, there's energy projects looking in Harlingen as well. So those are the two big growth industry sectors right now. But of course, this just with our location, advanced manufacturing, automotive, that's going to continue to grow. Especially with some of the things that the county's doing with international trade that I'll touch on later. But there's opportunities with that as well. And when you bring industry like that into the community, obviously the retail follows that, and the retail follows rooftops, and it's all in the system. So definitely focusing on the industry side is a growth sector.
Well, you gave us a good lead into Anna's next or Anna's question. And so, which is really retail and commercial. And we know that a lot of times retail follows rooftops, right? And so, Anna, from a city's perspective for Harlingen, where are we seeing actually the newest housing developments? And then also the commercial developments, where are we seeing that kind of fall in line in Harlingen?
So the retail development is happening everywhere in the city. I think the area that right now is the most active is probably the west side of Harlingen and also the southwest areas. Just this year alone, going back, right, and looking at the data for subdivisions, we have about 800 lots that are currently just going through the different steps of the subdivision process. So that's a lot of residential, low density residential development that is happening here in Harlingen. And on the commercial side of things, on the commercial side of things, you're seeing exactly that commercial development is kind of following where the subdivisions are basically popping up. And so a lot of the development that is happening with commercial is along the US Highway 83, and that's probably one area. And then the second area is Gary, between the Expressway and Sunshine Square. And just to give you some perspective as to the tremendous construction that we're experiencing. So just this fiscal year alone, and that doesn't include October, this month basically, we have to include October following month. We have a total value of building permits of $281 million. And so we have seen it's been explosive. I mean, for lack of a better word, I think prior, records, we basically just blow past them since 2012 or 2013. And so I think this is a really good indicator, right? That, growth that is happening here, and, that developers are interested in building a college.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of activity from both the industrial side and the commercial side, as well as housing developments. At the EDC, we don't incentivize housing developments, but a lot of times those developers will reach out to us and ask for stats such as, retail growth, housing growth in the area, what size of the community are those developments occurring. So they can reach out to us as well, and we try to be helpful as much as possible. Anna, do you have any numbers, and I don't know if you were able to get this or not, but do you have any numbers as far as, just the sheer amount of single family lots that have actually been developed or have been recently subdivided, maybe that are under construction right now or that have been recently constructed? Were you able to find those numbers?
I went back and looked at the last 6 months. And so technically, I picked some subdivisions. So for instance, I think my total was about 800, and that's the number that I mentioned just this year, the last years. And so since the beginning of January, it's split out. And so I included some subdivisions. So for instance, Los Arroyos, that's a subdivision that it's going to have 400 lots.
and that's near Kroger Avenue. We also have Sun Country subdivision, phase 3. That's about 60 lots. And we also have Patas Palmas, and that's also on the west side of town, and it's 246 lots. So overall, just based on that, again, 800 about that. Yeah, and I think we've got some more in the pipeline that we're trying to get past. It'll be probably a good another 400 lots, single-family home lots, homes in the upwards of $250,000 to $300,000 homes. And so we're excited for that additional residential development as well. So, Sally, I know that one of the key factors in recruiting manufacturers to our community and other businesses is workforce. Like, if you can't have the jobs and the availability of labor, then they won't come into the community potentially, right? So it's important that we attract businesses knowing that we can fulfill their labor. And so how does Workforce Solutions Cameron support employers and help new businesses find the talent that they need?
Well, we have a business services unit that goes out to the community and engages the employers from the small businesses to the large businesses to try to provide workforce services, including recruitment, outreach, screening, referring qualified job seekers, and helping them complete the work in Texas registration and then recruiting from there. We have about over 10,000 applicants registered to work in Texas, and that labor force is ranking for employment. Of course, those that need any type of skilling or credentials, we have plenty for them. As far as information for the businesses, we can also provide the market information for them in any occupational titles that they need, any job descriptions, prevailing wages, and any specific just information on labor market and how many businesses they might have to compete with and stuff. So they have that information stood out. We have a lot of opportunity to partner with businesses to bring their information regarding available funding for them to upskill their workforce or to hire new workers. There is a Skills for Small Business grant to provides the small businesses, and it's about $2,000 for new hires and $1,000 for incumbent workers. And this is a partnership with the local community colleges, and we do have a representative here locally at Mr. Ticer Loftus that can go out and visit with you and talk to you about opportunities with the Texas Workforce Commission. We have partnered, as Mr. Campos mentioned earlier, with EDCs throughout Cameron County to bring in funding for high-demand job training grants, and also with private entities to bring in the Texas Industry Partnership Grant to upskill individuals in the community or just train new individuals in preparing for the workforce in partnership with local industry, including local clinics, hospitals, and electricians, HVAC, and all that. So we're ready to bring all the workforce services that employers are needing to you all and provide you as much information as we can using our resources that we have.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Workforce Solutions is a huge partner in what we do, to recruit manufacturing other businesses to the community. So thank y'all for all the work that y'all do. So we've talked a little bit about what's kind of driving the growth, the opportunities. So let's talk about what makes growth possible. And we know that is really infrastructure and development in the city. And so I am going to ask you another question, Ramiro. Can you talk to us a little bit about the infrastructure advantages that make the region attractive? I know here in Cameron County, we have, I think, 5 modes of transportation here as well. So if you can touch base a little bit on that. And then talk a little bit about Los Indios Bridge also and how that's supporting trade and strengthening the regional economies.
Right, sure. So when you talk about transportation, obviously the interstate highways is big. We've got 3. There's Interstate 69 East, Interstate 2, and there's Interstate 169. I'm sure a lot of you guys don't know what 169 is, but that's the road from where Nicolas goes to the port. That's designated for federal interstate. So we've got 3 interstate highways. We've got 3 airports, 2 international military aviation, Harlingen, Brownsville, and Cameron County has an airport. You may not know, over at by the area. So that's the airports, the roadways. We've got obviously Class A rail. So it runs right through Harlingen, goes from Harlingen to the west and then down south. The Cameron County also has an international rail bridge. When it was built, it was the first rail bridge between the United States and Mexico in 108 years, something like that. So Class A rail is a and important transportation here. We've got a lot of folks don't see this as a transportation because we can't see it. The pipelines, we transport natural gas from up north, our Western area, and we transport that from there to the valley, to the port of Harlingen, Port Brownsville, and then into Mexico. But that runs also right to Harlingen, and I know there's opportunities to be able to tap into that. Let's see what else. Top railing, streets, highways, and then the ports. Thank you. We've got 3 ports. A lot of folks don't know that there's 3 ports in Cameron County. There's 2 deep water. Obviously, the biggest is Port Brownsville. They're actually deepening their channel right now from Port 2. We also have the Port Isabel port, the port of Port Isabel, and then obviously the Harlingen port, which is a barge service port. Being cheap is fun about that. And then obviously the most recent and most famous is we've got now a spaceport. So if you want to transport products to the International Space Station, pretty soon we're going to be doing it from Cameron County. So those are 6 modes actually of transportation in Cameron County. And you mentioned the Los Niños Bridge. When Cameron County is at the forefront of innovation when it comes to international trade, I just want to say that first, because I think we just accomplished something that's never been done at least from our research, is that Cameron County is on the verge of purchasing the ownership stake in the Peanut Bridge from Union Pacific. I don't think that's ever been done before, at least through our research. So with that purchase, Cameron County will now own Beverly Bridge and Los Tomates, which is commercial and passenger. The Gateway Bridge, which is passenger, which is about to have tremendous upgrades, over $100 million in upgrades, plus an additional standalone pedestrian bridge, which will ease crossings, as well as the what I like to call the one big beautiful bridge, Los Indios. Los Indios is, I think, the crown jewel of the Cameron County International Bridge System. And you keep hoping on that. The reason I think that is because that it's an overweight, it's on an overweight corridor. It is oversized, right? So you scale those wind turbines, they don't cross anywhere else but Los Indios, because that's the only one bridge capable. Not only that, but we also have a cold room facility for inspections. So if there's any type of fruits or vegetables that need to keep that cold chain, they can cross through here and never break that cold chain. Also, the USDA has the agricultural inspection facility there. So anytime they find any type of anomaly in the product and they can't identify it on site, they have to send it to a lab. And that could take hours, days sometimes. But the advantage of us having it on location is definitely something that we should be promoting, because it is a big advantage for us. And so I think there's prime location to be able to build on that, and especially here in Harlingen, because the overweight corridor was right through the industrial park, all the way to the aeroplex, all the way to the Port of Harlingen. And so I think that's a great opportunity for investments. Sorry.
Thank you. No, you're good. You're good. Thank you for that insight. Yeah, we definitely, and just so you guys know, Cameron County, Harlingen, and San Benito actually co-own the Osidios Bridge. So just something in case you wanted to then. So Anna, as Harlingen continues to grow, because we've talked about that growth, how is the city actually planning for new roads, utilities, and other services to support that growth? Because I know there's a lot of initiatives within the Harlingen, City of Harlingen. So can you share a little bit about that and kind of how Harlingen is preparing for that growth?
Well, I mean, as far as from the planning perspective, obviously, we use the thoroughfare plan, which is basically kind of a roadmap, so to speak. Basically, the plan itself kind of lays out what the future, connections need to happen, especially when residential development is coming into an area. So that pretty much dictates how we develop. And so, but as far as the city goes, this is technically like a team effort type of thing. We need collaboration between different departments. So engineering department, public works and planning, pretty much kind of leading the way. They're coordinating that implementation of the plan. And so as far as potential projects in the works, so we have Commerce Street. Commerce Street was actually one of the first grant applications that I worked on for the City of Harlingen back in 2021. We submitted the first time. We were not successful, and then we tried again, and we submitted it, and we were successful. So we got a U.S. Department of Transportation grant to do that, and so that was part of a major effort to make an improvement of a very critical corridor that basically traverses right through the heart of the city. And so that's something that we're actually trying to apply again to get construction funding again. So anyway, so that's a project that's kind of in the works. And again, we're going to try again to submit for that. And so we actually have a pretty good chance of getting that. And so last year we submitted an application. And so based on feedback, it's a project that was highly recommended. So it's getting very real. So potentially we might have something, the project funded for next year. Plus.
Oh, that's good. And I guess to briefly give a little more context about the Commerce Street. So they already got their funding and they're in the design process. I think that's finalized right now, or soon to be finalized, the design of what this kind of new design of Commerce Street will look like. It's very nice. I think it's housed on the city website if you want to go look at it. But additionally, and I can speak a little bit about it if you want to give some context, jump on in. But I think this year that Public Works, where there's going to be a new streets department within the city, so they'll be able to maintain and upgrade the streets a little bit more as well. So that's going to help with all the traffic. Do you have any information that you want to share about that?
Oscar, did you prepare? Not necessarily, except that I know there's been investment, resources being channeled into that, like creating drainage, a second drainage crew, and then also having a dedicated crew for street goings. And so that's what I have as far as details.
Yeah. So just so you know, the city is forward-thinking and not only tackling drainage, but they're tackling streets and then tackling how can we help grow with the region. And as developments continue to occur here in Harlingen, how can we make sure to maximize those developments? Okay, Sally. So really briefly, from your perspective, what should developers and employers know about the local labor pool? So what is the labor pool now? Can you just shed any light on that? Do you have any perspective that you want to share on that?
Well, there's a lot of job seekers out there. There's all kinds of educational backgrounds, skill levels. Recently, we had some major layoffs that impacted our unemployment rate at 2 points. And our goal is for us to bring employment so that we can upskill or reskill individuals for the new industries coming into our area. We do have a workforce outreach specialist out. Before that, I was looking at the market information, and we have a young workforce. We do. And that's a benefit for us, and how we can skill that they control. We have a workforce outreach specialist that goes out to all of the school districts and provides labor market information for all of the students in the high school level so that they can prepare themselves and learn what kind of occupations are out there and demand at skill level and credential requirements. So we're working and building that workforce. And as mentioned, we're always trying to bring in money to help individuals learn about the requirements of employers. We're especially focusing on internships. So that's a big priority for us. So not only will they be graduating, especially in the high school level with their credential, but they can go to gain some work experience before they actually find employment or continue on with their education.
No, that's good insight. And that kind of brings us, to, as I mentioned before, a really important piece of sustainable growth is workforce, right? So preparing our workforce for tomorrow. So I'm going to ask you a couple more questions here in just a second, but it's time for the audience to get involved a little bit more. So if you go back to minty.com, everyone grab your phone, go to minty.com one more time. Playing along with me here for a little bit. Finish that. Okay, so it looks like our number one, just for you to know, Sally, our number one is logistics and supply chain. Number two is skilled trade and construction. Number three, just changed to healthcare and medical support. Number four, office and administration. 5, retail and customer service. Oh, okay. Are you all done yet? All right. I'm going to say your names now. Okay, no more. So you have logistics, skilled trade, healthcare, manufacturing. Well, healthcare is a bit over 2 now.
What do you want?
Retail, office administration, education, and food and beverage. So if you look at this chart, and I went to the Workforce Solutions Cameron yesterday and was looking at y'all's top industries. How does this compare to what they're thinking are the top, let's say 3, to what the priorities are for Workforce Solutions and kind of where the future is for Harlingen in the region?
Well, I think they're spot on. We did apply for it and received a deal grant, and one of the priority industries was transportation. So, and goes in line with the number one skill set there. And for healthcare, it's one of our largest industries here. We have to focus on making sure that we have the workforce ready for that industry. We do have the medical school, and we're seeing clinics and doctor's offices all over. I remember when there used to be, I think, one or two dermatologists and others. Many of them out there. And skilled trades, absolutely. And so there's a need to have skilled workers. And we're remembering talking to an employer about skilled and unskilled labor, and they're talking about the credential. Individuals need a credential to make sure that, I guess, the employer wants to know that they have mastered that skill set and they can work in the field, especially with the LEG. I mean, those are $1 million projects. Then we need to make sure that they are constructed to the specifications.
Yeah, so on Workforce Solutions, Cameron, if you haven't been on their website, they have good information, good data. But 3 of their target industries are healthcare, manufacturing, and construction. And so these, you guys hit the nail on hit the head. Yeah, hit that. So you definitely got it. Healthcare, as Sally mentioned, is one of the top employers for the region for Harlingen. I think it's roughly 32% of the workforce is in healthcare industry. So it's a large industry. And so Sally, talk a little bit about how, our local ACISD or local schools, high schools, our colleges, and then our training programs are preparing workers for these jobs, right? For healthcare, manufacturing, construction. And then really, are we going to continue to see that over the next coming years as well?
Yes, we partner with all the tourist schools, colleges, technical schools, and universities here to make sure that we are preparing the skilled workforce for industry. It's the eligible training provider, which is the statewide system that lists all of the programs of study in our area, and we provide funding for those occupations and for anyone that's coming into the center. We don't have a limited number of grant funds, but we do have funding available. We also have opportunities for work-based training, which we partner again with the colleges, the schools. Like I mentioned before, if they're getting a credential at the high school level, then we can certainly put them into work experience, internships, apprenticeships, so that they can gain that work knowledge and experience, and they'll be ready for the workforce. And we partner with EDCs and colleges for specialized type of grants, like the Ironman Top Training grant that Mr. Galvos was highlighting earlier today. So those are important for all of us in our area to ensure that we have that skilled workforce, so that, we give the individuals here in our area that opportunity to get those jobs that the employers don't have to report workers into Cameron County.
Thank you. Thank you for that perspective. And yeah, we're really excited about the work that is happening with Yo's agency and the collaboration with the different communities, and the work that you're doing to make sure that our labor has the skills that they need, but also that our employers have the funding to be able to skill up those individuals. So we're going to be on our last topic, and then we're going to close it out with some questions. So in just a little bit, y'all can out your phones. You have one more soul. I promise this is the last one. And so I'm going to ask a few questions, then we'll close it out with asking you a question, and then we'll let y'all ask questions to the panelists. Okay. So, Anna, so we've talked a little bit about Harlingen opportunities. Let's talk a little bit about the long-term vision of Harlingen. And so I know that the city is actually working on new comprehensive planning. How is that going to help kind of guide growth, and then help developers understand where the city is headed? And then just share briefly a little bit about how y'all are helping developers do business in Harlingen. How are you making it easier for development?
Well, so we have a comprehensive plan draft that is currently available online. You can, it's available for public comment at the moment. We are hoping to bring the comprehensive plan in November to the City Commission, and in a joint meeting with Planning and Zoning Commission, and adopt it officially. So it's been kind of in the works for, I want to say, since August of last year. And so we're really excited about that. So comprehensive plans, specifically the future land use map, which is going to be revised as part of the new plan. That's going to be kind of our blueprint, right? Where we're going to grow, and how we see ourselves as a community for the next 20 years. And so as part of the comprehensive plan, public engagement process, there was a survey that was actually put out a couple of months back. And I wanted to just kind of highlight some of the questions, or I guess the responses to the questions that were asked, because I think they were relevant to you. And so, for instance, one of them is, what about Harlingen would you like to see change or improve? And so about 58% of the respondents to the survey said that they wanted more shopping, dining, and entertaining options in Harlingen. So even though we're having a lot of commercial activity, we still want where we're kind of like creating more variety when it comes to like businesses and shopping options. And so as far as housing, there was a question related to housing. And so the majority of respondents, they wanted housing that attracts families and young professionals, as well as the flip side of that, which is luxury housing. So we have kind of level work proposals. And then another thing too about related to housing, let's see. So the affordable single family survey was also a priority, which goes back to that workforce component. And again, most respondents, 69.7%, They said they wanted more entertainment options, and they wanted also like small businesses kind of choose local type of thing. Retail stores, that was like 58% of respondents, and then fine dining restaurants. And so I think for y'all, like, look, for those of you that, are looking into opening businesses or relocating into Harlingen, I mean, I think the community is ready for that. And I think they'll be very supportive of whatever venture you bring to Harlingen. And so as far as industrial development, which is, it's funny, like going back to that question, basically like 70% of respondents to that survey, which are Harlingen residents, they have a preference for light industrial uses like flex industrial and R&D, as well as warehousing, storage, and logistics, which I think, kind of like reflects some of the responses. And so another thing that I guess I want to emphasize, one of the main things that as a result of the future land use plan and the new comprehensive plan, based on the feedback that we received, is that a lot of corridors within Harlingen are going to be designated as mixed use, which hopefully will make it easier for you to open a different type of business or a different type of housing options. And so the plan right now, and again, it's a draft that's available for public comment. So the corridors that are included for mixed use are Loop 499, which is most of it, and the downtown area, which is the downtown improvement district, North Commerce, as well as North Business 37. And so going back to the question about facilitating things, so we're about adoption of the comprehensive plan. The next step for us is to update the zoning ordinance. That's also part of the scope of work that is being done with Fritz and Nichols, previous consultant on the project. And so we're hoping that, we can amend the ordinance to make it easier for you to, kind of go through the entire process, and you're able to open your business quicker without having to go through the process of doing a rezoning or a special use permit. We do have a tendency of maybe relying heavily on the special use permits, and again, it's not impossible or anything like that, but it takes time, and sometimes like maybe a month or 2 months, that might be too much for some businesses. And so, again, zoning updates is one of the things that we're going to be working next. And we're hoping to have hopefully adopted by the beginning of next year. As far as, making things easier. So right now we're in the process of restructuring the department. And so hopefully, good things are going to come out of that. And we already have things like pre-development meetings, which hopefully, if you can schedule them, call our office or email one of our city planners, and those are available every Thursdays. You can come to us, meet in person, or we can, meet virtual. And so that's a really good opportunity if you don't know, kind of the subdivision process, from the help with, the permitting process. You basically can ask any questions from staff. We typically have, different departments, not just buildings and planning, but also the hardware staff. We have engineering department, fire. So you basically can ask any questions that you have, so you can be very, to open and you can get your permit faster. So those are, that's just one little thing that we offer. We also, try to be available. Again, we're in the process of trying to update our website so we can provide information and handouts and how-to guides, because there's a lot of confusion sometimes, and we understand that it's, interpret the code and regulations, it's hard. So we're trying to make that easier for you, I guess, for the time being, but I guess more changes are coming soon.
Thank you for that. Yeah, definitely, reach out if you have any issues. We've done a really good job, or the city's done a really good job of working with us together. We work hand in hand, and, sometimes we'll call me like, hey, they need some help, they're having some issues, but just know that Harlingen, the city planning department's a resource. The Harlingen EDC can help get you connected to that city department. Reach out to us if you need anything. So get your phones out, and then I'm going to ask Ramiro a question, and then we're going to take questions and we're done. I promise. So get your phones out, minty.com. Let's begin. Oh, next slide. Okay, I promise this is the last one. So if you could bring one type of business or industry to Harlingen, what would it be? This is your wish list. Now's the time. If you want us to know, this is where you got to put it. Right, we're going to let y'all put it down. I'll put it in. Let's go open. So, it can be a name too. Everybody don't put Trader Joe's. We already know about that one. All right, so we've got they could put Trader Joe's. We have Trader Joe's, Costco, fine dining, entertainment, manufacturing, Amazon. Would love it, Amazon. Family entertainment, manufacturing, a bigger IKEA. Yes, no. Come on, we all know where that can go, right? The bigger IKEA.
They go see it.
A real IKEA. All right. Thank you all for participating in that. So it's really true. Like we take this to heart, and kind of some of the responses that Anna was sharing is that the community is ready for more. They're ready for more entertainment. We know that we need more manufacturing and industry to help drive that retail. And so we're kind of all working together to ensure that Harlingen continues to grow in a sustainable way, and that we're being proactive versus reactive. So in that, Ramiro, I'm going to ask you one last question, briefly answer, kind of looking 5 to 10 years ahead, what does success look like for the region? I mean, it's already being successful, but what does that continued success look like?
Thank you for saying briefly, because I think I'm with. I think success for us, and I know there's a lot of issue with this, but I think if we were able to solve the water issue that we have, I think that would be very successful for us. There's a couple of different companies that are looking into desalination, whether that's brackish water or seawater. I think once we solve that, there would be no barriers about how far and how big we could grow. Other than that, I think we need to just keep that open communication with our state leaders, with our federal leaders. Thank you for being here, and I think with local leaders, and not just one community, all of our communities together. I think that as soon as we all start working together, and we already are starting to work together to address these issues, I think that's what success would be like. Because once that's done, then everything else is problem based. I know that several of our organizations have had to say no to some projects because we just can't provide the water to them. That's just the reality of things. So I think success is once we solve that, we will overcome the things that we have, and we're this. Not even the sky's the limit anymore. Cameron County, space is the limit now. So I think that's what successful to meet them.
Yeah, you're spot on. And just a quick note, Harlingen has a lot of water, at least on paper. So
Harlingen has a lot of water rights, but
we do.
We don't have the water.
Yeah, but we have been able to provide some goodwill served letters to some large projects. So we're in a positive place in Harlingen. We continue to grow. Harlingen truly is kind of that rice, the right place with a bright future. You can hopefully you've shared that today during the panel. We appreciate the panelists for being here today, and we appreciate you for kind of listening. So we'll open it up for maybe 2 questions, because we're already running behind already. And then afterward, if you're not attending one of the tours, they're available, or you can reach out to us. We can connect you with the panelists directly. So I'm going to open it up for questions. I'm going to hand my microphone over to whoever wants it, and then we'll answer 2 questions and go from there.
My question for Raul. So I work on research development, and we're following all the trends. Do you think that Tarrant County is too over reliant on industrial developments? Because we like to see there people are asking for slightly more sophisticated retail, and everyone said, well, why can't we have it in town that Hidalgo County has it? Well, Hidalgo County is not over reliant on blue collar. What I keep telling people is that our retail, we're going to have both scarcity retail, not mechanical retail. That's one already we like. Second question, you're probably tracking our population growth as far as genders go, because it seems that there's a lot of men coming in, and that is going to drive over the next 5 years the retail sort of customs having up.
Right. So that's a good question. Thank you for that. So, you heard about my background. I've been doing mostly industry. I did a little bit of retail, but mostly industrial. So I have a soft spot for industrial and the. So my opinion on economic development at home is that industry drives retail, right? So, and you know this, retail jobs pay, not as much as industrial jobs. So the way we create wealth and economic development is we create an environment in which companies can succeed. And those companies that we're talking about are the ones that bring the wealth. So those companies that create something here, a widget, and sell it to Corpus, well, that money comes back in the form of wages to our people, right? And so now with those wages, what can they do? They can afford to go to a retail. They can go to fine dining. So I don't think we're over-reliant. I think we need to find a balance, right? I think we need to find a balance between industrial and the retail. And I think we're getting there. We're getting there. And as far as, you're right. There are a lot of, male folks coming in, but, that's because the industries that are growing are male dominated. Let's just say they're male dominated. So, you're talking about 5,000 people that are coming in to work as welders in the heat out in the LNG plants, right? And the majority of those, for better or for worse, whoever it is, the fact is that the majority are men, right? So that's what's bringing them in, and now with the announcements that they're going to grow on even longer, they're going to be doing more trains, which means it's going to be in a longer time, more folks picked up and in. You're right; those trends are going to follow that, and so we are keeping track of that as best as we can, and you're right; we have to find a balance. That's what I'm saying.
Anyone else? Any other questions before we ask Noah? You have a question? Can you talk loud?
I sure can. This one's for Ramiro. Ramiro, did you get anywhere when you said that you recently, a few months back, you'd had a positive lead from the United Arab Emirates and also that conference in Monterey? Any success from going down there with Harlingen and other EDCs?
Yes, actually, that company, from United Arab Emirates, they were here in Calgary last week over here. Yeah, so they really want to be there. So they're in aerospace. They're in the aerospace industry, and so they really want to be at Starbucks. So what I told them is right now, all of the available office space is owned by SpaceX, and I doubt seriously they're going to let another aerospace company come in and lease their space. But they were here last week, and they are still intent to come to Starbase or someone in Cameron County. So yes, we're still working with them, and they were here, right? When I mentioned to you last time, there was just a phone call. They gone and played and came to Cameron County, so that's a big success right there. As far as the Monterey trip, yes, that's at least Cameron County is still talking to 2 different developers, and that's not talking about the leads that Harlingen had or the leads that Brownsville had. They're working their own. But as far as Cameron County, we're still working with 2. We've had 2 conversations with one in particular about doing some industrial development, warehousing space, spec space, that kind of. So that was very successful. Thank you for the question.